Good morning. Thanks everyone for joining the VOLTHA call today. And we are recording this call so it can be posted later to the YouTube playlist for VOLTHA. And so this is the final week scheduled for Sprint 3. So Sprint 3 is for VOLTHA 1.2, 1.1/1.2, and this is expected to close on this Friday, end of day. And so I wanted to get a quick status on issues, and I believe most of the in-progress issues at this point are adapter ones. And so, Tim, I wanted to check with you and the team if there are adapter issues you want to go over today, or if you're planning to cover them tomorrow instead.
I think we can briefly cover. I think the status on many of these are all linked together, and we can cover in 1 or 2 minutes. Those associated with the device management for the SSF. Yeah, those are still in progress, but no progress has been made since our last call a week plus ago. Still pending remote access for the team in India to a OLT to verify the code they've written. So I checked with David yesterday. As he's on the bridge today, there was no progress on that as of yesterday. David, any progress?
Is David caller 01?
Well, he shows on the bridge. He looked like he was active a minute ago, but then
you got scared.
No.
Even Chip, I'm not sure Chip is on either, or Philip.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm back from vacation until next week.
Dave, if you're trying to speak, we can't hear you. All right, so I'm going to take that as no change from yesterday.
Okay. And at this point, since we have just a few days left in the sprint, and we still have not resolved the access issue for this, what do you think our confidence level is? Or do we probably need David to speak to that?
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button instead of.
Hi, David. Welcome back.
Thanks. What's my confidence? We're close. I was on the phone with HR yesterday. This is just frustratingly painful to get this done. And the number of people I've had to communicate with is insane. So they have accounts. In theory, one of them actually should have VPN access, although as best I can tell, they don't know how to do it in terms of they haven't been contacted by anyone in Siena other than me on it. And they don't have the password or anything that they need to actually get on, but the account's been created. So I've been working that issue a little bit yesterday and today, trying to get that information to them. There has been changes in Siena remote access using RSA, so it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to complicate the issue. You know, getting anything done by the end of the sprint, I'm real concerned right now on it, to be honest. And
yeah,
right.
And my emails have been gradually getting more and more all caps as I work around the HR IT pain.
David, do you think? I think I asked this question. Do you think ONF has the setup for people to remote log in easily?
ONAP?
ONF.
ONF. What do you mean? They VPN into ONF, you mean? Or ON Labs?
Yeah.
when I've had to do that, Luca's been able to set it up pretty quickly. They do not have as many processes, restrictions, everything else on that.
Okay.
So it's possible that Luca could set that up relatively quickly. I don't know if, and again, when I've done it, it's before the ONF merger. I don't know if things have gotten more complicated since ONF or less or whatever. So it's unclear that it will be as easy because it may be that Luca doesn't have the authority anymore.
Okay. I'm going to send the email out to Luca. Okay.
Okay.
At least Shad can run this, right? So since this is a part of his project, so
if they can get the code to him, he should be able to run it. Yeah, it's a less efficient way to do things, but at least makes progress.
but either way, okay. So I think let's proceed with both track, and then I'll send an email to Shad. Are you walking outside?
I am. I am. I had an early meeting, and so my dog did not have a chance to do his early morning walk.
It sounds you're on vacation or something.
No, clearly not vacation. Trust me, I'd rather be at my laptop than walking this mangrel.
Okay. Julia, let me see what I can get some response.
Okay. Okay. So we will see how this progresses. And then, Tim, I'm pretty sure you guys will probably be talking about it on the call tomorrow as well. And I think that leaves us to VOL 408. Let me see if we've got Sergio on the call. I do not see him on the call today.
He's on PTO today.
Ah, okay, got it. Last time I had checked with him, it was on track for this to be resolved in this sprint. So hopefully that's still the case.
I haven't heard any different.
Okay. And then the last open item we have in here is VOL 535. And do we have a, yes, we do have a MIT on. And it looks like this, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I had submitted the changes for the version bump up and submitted that, so it's waiting for review.
Okay, very good.
Are you then also going to submit the changes to the dependencies for ONOS to use the new version? For the ONOS that's built with VOLTHA?
You mean the version of ONOS?
Well, version
ONOS?
No. VOLTHA builds its own copy of ONOS, and it pulls in the apps that it requires. So bumping up the version number in that one app, we have to make sure all the other apps depend on that new version that need to, as well as ONOS pulls in app by version number. There's a dependency.xml file, I think that's what it's called, that in two places that we have to update.
Yeah, I could do all of that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you want me to do it as part of this Jira itself, or should we create a separate Jira for that?
Let's create a separate Jira for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Okay. All right, I believe that is it for the open issues in this release, because most of them are adapter related, so we're still blocked on most of those due to the access issue. And I know there have been some new stories open. Primarily, I don't remember seeing a lot of defects, but mainly stories opened. Are there any other blocking issues that people have run across since the last meeting that need to be discussed on the call? Okay, then I think that's our quick review then for Sprint 3. So again, it's targeted to close on Friday. We do have issues related to a number of the adapter JIRAs in there currently, and then we'll have one new JIRA opened to submit the version number dependency updates as well, related to VOL 535. And then Sprint 4, so Tim, it looks like you guys did have some preliminary discussion and opened some of the issues related to documentation, in particular for Sprint 4, which is scheduled to kick off next Monday. And so, oh, were you going to make a comment?
No, just yes. In fact, we did. So primarily creating a story around the release notes, and I created subtasks under that story for each of the modules or major areas within VOLTHA, so we can track those individually. So those have not been assigned yet. We're going to need to determine who will pick those up and get agreement that they'll get that done in that period during Sprint 4.
Okay, and I know we haven't officially kicked it off yet. I think if we have the right folks on today, we could go through looking to assign items. Otherwise, I think we're pretty much done with the Sprint 3 discussion. So do you think it makes sense to go through today and see if we can find owners for some of the documentation?
I think so.
Okay, then let's go ahead. I think we'll just start with the first one and go into the subtasks here. So let me open the larger one and drill down from there. Okay, so here you see the list of related subtasks for the release notes epic. And we've got the high availability, we've got backup restore, installer, security, XPON config, XPON device management, OLT adapter, adapter list and compatibility matrix, and then known issues.
So just a comment, I just followed exactly what was in the release 1.0 of the v1.0 release notes. If it's missing something that is now included in 1.2, that should be added as another subtask.
Got it. Okay, thanks. All right. Should we just start going down the list and trying to get volunteers? Or the other option, go ahead.
Well, I think we could look first at who developed the original.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And I do not have that open on my desktop at the moment. Sean, do you have the release notes open?
I do not. No.
You do not. Okay.
We can all get to them pretty quickly because now there's a link within the wiki.
Where is? Oh, I don't have a shortcut for it now.
Do we know how many of the older release notes, since you kind of followed the same table of contents, are still viable for the new release?
That's a good question. I think that HA, while we'll probably need an update, but it's probably fairly close. Sorry, I lost my.
Because I think that's probably a good way to start, right? Just let's chip away at what we have as opposed to redo everything.
Oh no, exactly. That's what I was going to suggest. Is we start with what we have and just follow that form. Maybe make some improvements in the form as we go. But let's start with the existing. Clearly, it's a minor release. We may just want to append each section in these release notes and push it out as a doc. So HA,
particularly for minor releases, differences are important, right? So it's rather than give me the thing, it highlights what's different.
Mm-hmm. I presume somebody read the original release notes, or is
no one ever reads those things. Yeah.
I guess because it was hidden before, so most of people probably don't know about it. And but it's it was reviewed and entered by the let's say, you know, the epic owner, right? So module owner of each one. So yeah, I think the information should be pretty reliable. But so Sergio updated the high availability, and I think this was done back in the August timeframe, the end of August, when we're getting ready to release the 1.0.
And I don't believe we have Sergio on the call today.
No,
he's not on the call.
He's on PTO.
I mean, we can sign it. Well, I can't claim he's going to do it, right? I can't sign him up for the work. Let's set actually Ken up for that work anyway. I can sign him up. So I hope Ken's not online. Let's ask Ken to do that, and if you need some help, I'll help him out.
On HA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are we assigning it to?
KHEN.
Okay, I didn't see him online. So okay.
He's not online. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said he was. That's why I was looking.
No, I said I hope he isn't, because I'm signing him up for work.
Got it. My misunderstanding. Okay, and I don't know if I can.
There you go.
And it actually, let me go to get on the correct one here.
You can do it from the right. Just click on the 3 dots on the right, just assign.
Yeah. All right. Okay, and then the next one is backup restore, which I believe Sergio had done also. Let me check here, yes. So anyone on the call today feel they could take that one, or should we wait and discuss with Sergio later?
Let's discuss with Sergio. Has anybody ever actually tested it? Okay, guess not.
David, we tried to test it during the MVT, right? We backed
I'm
up,
not sure.
but never. I think the backup portion is fine, but never restored. I think the restore portion never been done. Yeah.
No,
you can't tell if the backup portion's fine until you do the restore.
Sean, no, I think I have verified that it works.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, we verified to the same thing.
The backup and restore.
Okay. Because I don't think anything's changed about that one. Is really my point.
Right. And I don't think there were any stories on that one.
Yeah.
One question. This one is referred to an MD file, right? So can we just insert that? It's just a text document. I wonder whether instead of having a link, we actually.
Well, we should put it together, right? We should.
Yeah.
Put all these things in one big release note.
Yep.
Whatever.
At least maybe put in the attachment or something like that. That's something we can do. Okay. Or appendix. Not attachment. Appendix or yeah.
Okay. And let's see. The next one was the installer.
Sergio again.
Dependency, and that was Sergio again. Unless anyone else wants to volunteer in Sergio's absence today.
I don't think that's actually. I do think there's been some changes around that.
Yeah.
Is there a change on this one? If not, then we can. I think people have been using it.
I think he needs to review it. I thought he had made some changes. I mean, I would put him on that one. He'll at least get the notification and email it. He's been assigned to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the next one is security. So let's go take a look at that section.
That was Sasir.
Left.
You can assign that to me. It's Girish.
Girish, we'll pick it up.
Thank you,
Yes.
Girish.
Well, that's cool.
Let's see. Which one of these should
It's Radices.
this
Radices.
one?
Well, there's
Yeah,
three.
there's
Yes, that's
three
one.
here for you. This one? Okay,
Yes, that one.
got it. Thank you. And then the next one, expon config. I'll go over
Naren.
There is no change, right, in this release.
Right.
We should still review.
Yeah.
Make sure the release notes, I mean, all the release notes should be reviewed and updated.
Yeah, especially Naren, because expon config has a series of the expon CLI commands, right? So what is supported today and what is not supported, like ONU, delete ONU or something like that, those we disable those features, right? So can you take a look at this?
Yeah, only the update feature we don't want to support, that's it.
Right. So but
that should be in the release note, so that it does need at least some attention.
Okay, do you have the older release note somewhere that I can modify?
Yes, so they are accessible from the.
Julie, let's create a copy and put that. Okay. Yeah, rather than modifying the ones that are posted, let's create a copy that will be the 1.2 target.
Got it.
And post that.
Okay, that sounds good.
So either Julia or I will provide a link to where we want to modify. We'll start with the copy of the 1.0 and then modify that to make that the 1.2. We'll send that out over Volta to discuss.
Okay, the next one, expon device management.
This will need some attention. Sean, or is that Girish?
I have done some work on that, but it's not via expon, so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You can assign that to me.
Good.
But I think the name needs to change. It's not expon.
I agree.
Okay, and then the next one is the OLT adapter. And no name next to that one from the previous release notes.
Sean Missick, can we assign that one to Kim?
Yeah, assign that to Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next one is the adapter list and compatibility matrix. And that looks like it was just a placeholder.
It was a placeholder. I think.
Yeah.
Let's. Why don't you
Well, we can generate that, right?
Yeah. It'll be fairly short.
Assigned to me.
Okay.
I feel like I need to do something.
Sean, do I use the ATT one or
yeah,
the?
use ATT.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
when
the last.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, when does Sprint 4 end?
Sprint 4 is targeted to end on the 22nd of December, I believe.
So we got almost, 4 weeks, right?
Yes, just short of.
Okay. And then the last item is a known issues list, and I don't believe that was not included in the previous version. So good thing to add that as well.
And I think that'll be a combination of, it's Julius, you or me.
Yeah.
Just doing a bug scrub and identifying what's known issues.
I don't know. Can we have multiple?
I think you can only have one.
Okay. I guess I'll put my name down and we'll do that together. Okay. So we have our rough assignment for things. I'll send an email or a comment to Sergio about the VOLTHA Backup Restore. See if he can take a look at that. I think, Sean, that was the one where we were talking about pulling in previously there was a document that was accessed via a link and then pulling that directly in here as an appendix, most likely.
Yep.
So, okay. And I think we've got...
And then I wonder if some of the stuff maybe on the XPON and then device manager, a lot of MD file was, I don't know, when we doing the past discussion, the MD for this, people always say it's in the code, right? So I really, a lot of people want to review this before they actually get on a GitHub, right? So this is for the potential future service providers, and then we really need to pull those in.
So they could be referenced or included as attachments in the release notes. They could also be posted as documents to the wiki, rather than buried in the code.
Right.
Yeah.
We need to expose them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the question is, where is the source of the documents? And remember, Wiki's a publication of that. So it's all, if we have documents in the source, MDs, it's possible to have, to pull those out, consolidate them into a single document, and post them on a wiki or that, right? So I just want to be careful that if we start doing this document as a completely separate outside source control, which means we're outside versioning and everything else, it's going to become problematic to manage. There are tools like Gitbook and everything else that can be leveraged to help here. And again, having this as a separate document outside source controls, I think, is going to cause us problems in the long term.
Yep.
It simply could be a page or section within the wiki that links to the document in Git.
It could be that.
Some organization around it, say you're looking for this information, here's a link that takes you there, rather than having to dig through GitHub looking for documentation.
Agreed, right. Or as I said, you can use Git to generate a PDF back into the source code, but this way, the version of the document is tied to the version of the source code somehow, where the wiki doesn't have any versioning capability.
Agreed. So that'd be in favor of links to the versioned document. As long as the link stays valid, then the wiki's valid.
I wonder what we have. Of course, we probably don't have what I'm trying to say is you know, everybody here, at least on the vendor side, has composed release note, or there's some people in their organization is doing that, right? So is that the overkill to have some to recommend maybe some people with the past experience of creating the release note to be involved with this? Julie and Tim, what do you guys think?
I'm sorry, Sean, what's the question is, do you drag in someone from technical publications into this?
Yeah. Maybe that's a little bit overkill, I guess.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great thing to do for 2.0, but I don't want to try to. I won't be successful in getting resource assigned to this in the next 3 weeks. Let's put it that way.
Okay. No, I think for a production release, then we definitely need to do that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so let me go back. So I think we've got the subtasks discussed there. And in Sprint 4, I know there's been some more discussion on 460 over email. I'm not sure, should we talk about that this week or hold off until next week with the Sprint 4?
I tried to pull some people together to discuss this. I've not getting much response.
Okay.
Okay.
Was that David? You say okay, or
yeah? I was just curious if someone had updated. I thought Steve was going to add comments to the jury.
He did.
He did. There are comments in there, and
that clear up
down here
for people. Did that give a better understanding?
Well, it basically says we should look at Sarisha's proposal before making a decision. So it helps, but I don't think it's definitive.
Okay, and I would agree with Sean. We need to pull together the relevant people and talk.
Again, I think Tim, is that correct? I mentioned for AT&T right now, this is not an issue, but I don't know whether for other service provider this will be an issue. Potentially, we can do both. I'm leaning, maybe we can do it in both. You can assign, but if something is not being assigned, then default can be used, right? Or create a common default. So the question is, do we need to get this resolved by the end of December? If not, and I don't have other service provider here to present the urgency of this one. So right now we put this in the VOLTHA feature? Is that correct?
No, this is in Sprint 4, I believe, currently.
It's targeted for Sprint 4. We didn't know if we could resolve it in Sprint 4, but it was just the next sprint to push it to.
Okay.
So we got pushed out of Sprint 3 into 4. If we can't have a meeting on this until mid-December, then it's not going to be resolved in Sprint 4. It'll just, kick the can down the road.
Right. Do we?
At this point, I'm not aware of a requirement to resolve this in December.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't think there's a requirement either, and we probably want to think of it more in context as we start to think about how to do traffic queuing and such at the uni.
Mm-hmm.
So, some good thought besides just doing a VLAN value, just how sub interfaces are assigned on both an O and U, and in the future a DPU.
So this really should be restated as a story and made part of the traffic
QoS.
shaping. Yep.
Then and the QoS support is in what it is in 2.0. So why don't we put this one in 2.0 now? Could we do that? And
Sure.
then change the instead of device manager to the traffic.
Well, it's probably more device management, I bet. I mean, it's related to both traffic shaping, but also device management. So,
Can we include both?
Components? I think so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Which one were you wanting? Yeah.
We have a component for that, so we'll have to create one.
Okay, let's leave it.
Yeah, leave it there.
And then take this out of Sprint 4?
Yep.
Yes.
So we will remove that. Oops. Whoops. Hit the wrong button. Sorry. There we go. Okay. And then did we also want to change this to a story?
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll need to add another component here. We can do that after the fact, after the call. Okay.
I'm surprised there's no traffic management on as an epic story. Epic.
Sean, we need to. There are a number of epics that don't exist yet that need to exist. They're buried in other areas, and
that's
actually,
the thing we need to clean out, right?
Well, there are epics. There are epics, but they don't show up as components.
Right.
Not every epic is a component.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. There is an epic for QoS traffic shaping for, at least there is one for the adapter for the SF VOLTHA but there needs to be there should be a VOLTHA core component to that.
Okay, then I think this one we probably, okay. Tim, I see you have a note from last week's meeting that Sergio is going to review this code in Sprint 4. So I think we don't need any other discussion on that today. And then the last item was one that we touched on earlier also about updating the wiki pages for VOLTHA. And so that one may be a collaborative effort, I think, to get that done.
I'll assign that to myself.
Okay.
So we have somebody to hold accountable for it.
Do we want to see who's interested in this? I mean, potential. I think that's a committee.
It is, but you can only have one owner in Jira. So if someone else wants to, if you'd like to own it, Sean, I mean, you are the as product owner, you're probably the appropriate person.
Tim, what did I do to you?
Well, I have Tim there for the moment. That can change as needed, but agree that this will be a collaborative effort and a number of folks involved. So everyone feel free to start thinking about improvements needed and updates and so forth as well. And I believe that's our last issue for today. We did have a number of new stories that were opened. Not sure if you have, let's see, we've got 20 minutes if we want to try and go through those to assign, to see if any need to go in 2.0 as opposed to VOLTHA Future. But I think other than that, we're pretty much done for the day. So
let's go over that today.
Just before we do that, I put out what I call the VOLTHA Playground, which most importantly has a compose file or really a Docker Swarm stack file to start VOLTHA in a single file using pre-built container images. Just a plea for anybody who gets the ability to test that against the different adapters would be good. These are the artifacts of some of the build system work that I've been doing so that you can build without a VM, kind of do all the build in Docker, as well as be able to run VOLTHA because the images would be published without having to do the source code. So if people could get a chance to test that, that would be helpful, because until then I'm not comfortable putting these changes up for
where is it?
He has a discussion on it in VOLTHA Discuss.
Yeah.
Is there a link from the wiki, or
let's see.
Yeah.
So there's a link here in the
That's the link.
VOLTHA Discuss email.
And even if you don't want to use the VM setup of the playground, there's a Docker stack file in there that if people could essentially test with their pre-built images, whether they use that stack file or whether they use their existing stack file and change the image names, it would be helpful.
Yeah, David, thank you for bringing that up.
I will. Okay, I'll send that around too.
Most importantly, it needs to be tested against the hardware adapters, ponds, and that type of thing.
Yeah, how much effort? How long will that take? How big an effort is that to test? Is that a day?
I would hope it wouldn't even be that. If you've got your setup, it really should just be, again, you could use your existing files and just run these images, change your existing files to these new images and run those images. It's really testing those pre-built images, which are all essentially named OpenCore/VOLTHA-blah. So there's some image name changes about it.
Would it be worthwhile to just create small stories for Sprint 4 and ask for various adapter owners to take that on?
Well, we could absolutely do it that way. I have however it can get tested, I'm for.
that way we've got a record that it was done.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we've already picked those up. Have we? Kim's not on, but David, you've been working in.
Yeah, I know he's been busy. So I haven't been pushing it too much. I'll create stories.
Chip and Philip, can Atran take a look at this?
Yeah, we probably have to update our device adapter so that it gets built in. So we're going to push up a new source later this week or shortly.
And then we can ask Calix to do that. Is Lydia here?
I don't see her online, but why don't we go ahead and just create the stories? And
okay. I'll definitely create the stories. And the good news is once this is proven working, some of the guy actually got, this stuff up and running in AWS, so people could actually get VOLTHA running up without any hardware at all. Well, except the adapters, but without any servers.
One thing related, Stefano from the Telefonica, they're going to submit their GPON-based Celestica adapter. So yeah. I think it will be good for them to test it too.
Once code's updated, again, these are images that are built. So as people, if they need that source updated, I'll have to rebuild and republish the containers. This is part of the build change work, which will allow us to do nightly builds and publish the nightly as well as release containers quite easily up on Docker Hub for anybody to grab. So people can start again deploying, playing with, using without having to deal with source code. So there are some build system changes that once I get some initial verification on the containers, I can push those build system changes, and then we can start doing nightly publishing of the container images.
Then David, does it mean if there's any bug, you will take on the ownership to fix them?
In the build for the Docker builds, yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
That's great.
Thanks.
So Sean, you brought up an interesting topic, which is the adapter, the Celestica adapter, microsemi adapter.
Yep.
And so how to introduce that and what testing validation should be done against Volta before that's released.
Right. So what I did is I sent an email to Shad and Sarav, and they have the box. Most of us probably doesn't have the Celestica box, right? So they have the box. So I guess when they introduce the adapter means, you know, the Volta core need to be recompiled, right? Or how do you call it? Is that merge or compile or something? Anybody can answer my question?
Oh yeah,
I didn't understand the
new
question.
adapter, you have to compile. Yes.
You have to recompile, right? So
yes.
So I think the additional information we'll probably need to find from them is, you know, what Volta version they've been using, and then I guess merging that adapter into the 1.2 is bearing some risk, because potentially either the 1.2 is going to break it, or it's not going to work with it, or it's going to break the 1.2. So I think there's some follow-up work we need to do with the Telefonica. Is that a fair concern?
I think it's a fair concern. That we originally, when we talked with Telefonica, there was some interest in getting it into the 1.2, but since it's now, you know, we're 3 weeks away, it seems like it'd be fairly risky to try to include it in the 1.2 branch, or at least the 1.2.0.
It's so I'm assuming Telefonica doing this themselves without any system integrator, right? I don't want anybody.
If they have a system integrator, it's not one that I'm aware of has been engaged with Volta in ONF.
Okay.
Is there an assessment of the work needed to integrate that? I mean, do they have the XPON integration available, or that's something new?
We don't even know what. We don't know what Volta code it's based on. So we need to know that before we could make an assessment of what it would take to complete some validation.
I will include Julie, and I'm going to send out another email. And maybe they have. I think they said they will submit with the documentation also. So, is there? Okay, David, is there any place in the Volta branches or GitHub they can submit a code and without being merged?
Oh yeah, they can submit it as a draft, right? And then they can invite people to look at it. And even when they submit it as a change set, it's not automatically merged. It says a change set, and then people can review it. And it won't be merged until someone does a +2 and a submit.
Right. I think what they're hoping is someone can tell them where they can deposit deposit the code. So I'm waiting for Shad and Sarav to come back with the answer.
I mean, they don't need their own repo. They can, again, if it's code changes against Volta, they can just submit a normal change set.
Okay.
This is not. We shouldn't be overly complicated here.
Yeah.
Even if their change set doesn't compile against master, they can submit it against master. We won't verify and we won't merge it, but it can get people what the code looks like, and they're going to have to make it work against master.
And David, for someone have not done that day to day, you know, at least for me, it doesn't seem to be that easy to me. So potentially, what I'm saying is, I'll wait for them to get back to me.
If they email to the discuss list, people will help.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, then I'll send that email out and then discuss list and then CC them, and maybe I'll do that. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Sean. So we have a few minutes left. We can talk about the newly opened issues. And so we have one that was opened related to our discussion today to update the dependencies XML file. And this is for updating the version of the status app. And we have update ONO's AA app also to use 2.0.0 snapshot version. So again, related to our earlier discussion. Okay, and so I think these, we probably need to move them into Sprint 4, correct? Anyone?
Sorry, temporary loss of focus.
So we have the discussion about 535 earlier today, and then opened a couple new defects, not new items for updating.
Right, those all have to go together, right?
Yes. And actually, it's in Sprint 3, not 4.
Yeah.
Good thing I double checked that. Yeah, he's going Sprint 3. So let me move those to Sprint 3. Okay. And then next on the list, we have 556. Let me go look at this here. And this was opened a couple days ago, and it looks like there's PM stats exceptions and edge core adapter. And we have
there's missing
submitted
parameter.
Okay.
So does it mean information has been sent out but it's not been reported northbound out?
It causes an exception when it receives the event from the OLT. There's a missing parameter. The fix is set to add the parameter back in.
Okay, so it's not part of. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not the Broadcom issue, right?
That's right. It's an adapter issue.
Okay. So has been assigned?
Yes, it has been assigned. Yeah. And do we know where this one needs to be placed?
Sadish, is Sadish on?
No, I don't think so. So can we put this into Sprint 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me put this in 2.
Just by the way, is Kim on vacation?
No, he's busy right now.
And then the next one, VOLTHA 555, support deletion of ONU using XPON config interface in the adapters, OLT and ONT. And we've got things submitted to Garrett for those as well at this point. And let's see. Any comments on this item or discussion?
I have submitted this for review. I would appreciate if the reviewers can share their comments.
You see who we've. Let me go take a quick look here. Okay. Don't have too many of those folks on today. Okay, and let me go ahead and close that up. Okay, any thoughts on where this one needs to be placed? So we have it up here for review at this moment.
I mean, it could go to sprint 4, I guess. I mean,
if the code's already done, is there any reason it's not going to be reviewed and put in 3?
Just depending on people's schedules, and I think most of the folks that were tagged as reviewers aren't on the call right now.
All right, fair enough.
So that's the only.
Yeah, but we could also add a comment tagging them to please review and see if we can get that into completed by the end of this week. Okay. And this one is 555. I'll look up the assignee or the reviewers in Garrett later and then send it to the list.
For some reason, I don't get notifications from Garrett whenever I'm added to the review or some change happens on the review. Does anyone else face the same problem? I think that's causing the reviewers to not review that.
Yeah.
So
they're not automatically.
I don't think you get notification when you're. Well, maybe you do get notification when you're a reviewer. I don't know. I wonder if we could tag him in the JIRA somehow.
I mean, we used to get it earlier. I think there was an upgrade on JIRA and all this. I think from then on, this issue has cropped up.
JIRA moved from Owen Labs management to Linux Foundation management.
Yeah, I think that is when this problem is arising.
So
I don't think there's any notifications.
Okay, we need to figure that out. I check your profile in JIRA and see if they still have your email address. That'd be one thing I check. Other than that, we need to get back in touch with Linux Foundation and see what's going on then.
I think that's the major problem why people are not able to, get notifications, and that's why the code is not getting reviewed.
Okay.
I agree with you. I didn't get any notification either.
Let me get the contact from Luca and see who we should contact for that. I'll see if we can do a little chase down on that.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, David. Okay, we are at the top of the hour. This one was from last week, so it may have been discussed on the previous call, but I'm not sure. So
I don't think we got it there. Yeah, I don't recall discussion.
Okay. And so I think on VOLTHA Discuss, there's been some related emails posted there. So VOLTHA Core needs to replay device flows to adapter during reconcile. So this is opened as a story. And I don't know if other folks have had a chance to review this yet or look at it on the VOLTHA Discuss topic.
No comments, so it's high priority, but I don't know if it's what it's holding up, what it's blocking at this point.
So I think at this point we may have to defer the discussion on this to Thursday's call because we are out of time. And then I believe there is a topic on VOLTHA Discuss for this. Hopefully I'm remembering correctly. I think it's in there, but I can't find it right at the moment. Okay, so I think we'll have to close up the bridge for today, and then we can pick up with this on Thursday's call. Meanwhile, if folks can take a look at that, see if there are any concerns for you for this item, please let us know. And any other comments from the group before we close up the bridge today?
So Thursday's call will be similar. We're end of sprint, getting close to end of 1.2, but I think there's also a request that one call per week be dedicated to planning, roadmap and planning, and the other call be more topical. What do we need to do this week? It sounds like Thursday's call will be largely around what we need to get done to close out the sprint. So
yes, that's my thought for Thursday, and then I think starting in December, so the following one, we can try and do that. Maybe target the Tuesday for what needs to happen that week, or the status updates, and trying to keep things on track for the sprint, and then we can have some further discussion on roadmap and planning on the Thursday. So we can talk about that more offline, Tim, and line that up. But I think since we've got the sprint closing, hopefully on Friday, we'll probably need Thursday to try and navigate that.
And then we're thinking about, instead of 3 VOLTHA related call every week, we reduce to 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd like to do that as well.
So and then
or one.
Yeah, or one. Why not? I think so. Adapter. I think the Wednesday. I think Tim was saying Wednesday seems to be a good time to review JIRAs and the defects and the review stories. One of the call. I think we definitely need to start creating the stories and epics for the 1.3 and then 2.0. I know we owe you the priority list, but anyway, so we definitely need to have one call of the week to discuss architecture and then framework related stuff. I think we need
At least until we've got the scope for 1.3 and 2.0 nailed down, then perhaps we could drop back to one a week. Mm-hmm. But we won't make it. I don't think we'll get to a lockdown until we start spending some time discussing.
Yep. So potentially, let's. The time is up. So let's have a Thursday, Julie, and then we can think about whether next week we reduce to 2 or
sure.
or remain at 3.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone. I will go ahead and stop the recording.